Hey guys, it's Dave with Chicago Nerf, and today let's take a look at the Aeon Pro. Alright guys, so I was lucky enough to pick up an Aeon Pro a little bit early. I know they've been releasing a lot around the Midwest actually. A bunch I've seen in Indiana, I've seen some in Wisconsin, I've seen some in Michigan. I was lucky enough to pick one up here just outside of Chicago. Just basically going over the box, my first impressions on everything here. It's the Adventure Force Tactical Strike Series. It's the Aeon Pro. Same thing as the Nexus with the Ultimate Dart Blaster on there. Shoots over 125 feet. It takes both half and full lengths based on the photo. It also says takes both half and full lengths. It's a top prime blaster. It comes with a full-length mag, or it comes with a half-length mag rather, and an adapter, but no full-length mag. It's got a safety lock. It's ages 14 and up as well. And then my favorite thing on the box is they directly call out Nerf. And then they also say, if you want maximum distance and accuracy, make sure to use the Pro darts and don't use the Nerf darts. Even though you can, don't. It's shots fired. Either way, yeah, it looks great. Simple. It does not have the flip-up flap on the front of it like the Nexus did, but it's a much smaller package, so it makes sense to save on a little bit. So let's unbox this thing, and then we're going to run it through its paces. We're going to test the 125-foot range claims. We're going to put it over the chronograph. We're going to get all the numbers. I've got the Adventure Force Pro darts lined up, both half and full lengths. I've also got Worker Gen 3 darts that we're going to be using, and I've got AF waffles that we're going to be using as well. So we'll see where everything stacks up. We'll get all the numbers, and I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. So yeah, let's get this thing unboxed. All right, so everything that comes in the Aeon Pro package, we've got the 12 half-length Adventure Force Pro darts. We've got the muzzle, the same muzzle that's on the Nexus Pro. We've got another 12-round magazine, and then we've got the magazine adapter as well, and then the blaster itself and some instructions. So let's take this thing out to the range. Let's put it over the chronograph, and let's see how the Aeon Pro stacks up. All right, guys, so we're out on the range with the Aeon Pro. It's getting a little dark, so I don't know how much you guys can see, but I do have the range set up all the way down from starting at 100, going all the way to 150, being a little bit hopeful, seeing what this thing can do. So we're going to start out with the full lengths. I've got 2 mags. I've got the full-length Pro darts, and then I also have some AF waffles. We're just going to lay 5 down a piece and see what happens. All right, let's throw 5 waffles down the lane. Ooh, and a jam. Gotta get a double feed here. It's not gonna work. So we had a full jam up on AF waffles. All right, so let's put in the adapter, and we will shoot off 5 the half-length Pro darts. Much better result. And let's throw 5 workers down the lane. All right, let's go see where everything ended up. All right, so we've got the first AF waffle way far away. We're only at 51, 52 feet here. Then we've got all the rest of the AF waffles coming in just over the 75-foot mark. Then we've got the AF Pro full-length darts coming in. The first one is, yeah, realistically 90 feet. We've got one right around 98, 2 just shy of 100, and the last one right at 110. We also have 2 workers coming in just short of 110. There's the third worker just shy of 120, realistically like 117. Then we've got an AF Pro dart coming in at 120. Got another worker dart right just shy of 125. 2 more of the AF Pro darts coming in at 125. And I am not seeing everything else. We have 1 more of the half-length Pro darts back there at 110. So I don't see anybody that is breaking. Yeah, I've got all of them. So I only have one that is just over the 125-foot mark. So take a look there. That's the mark. It is literally like an inch over it. But, you know, I will say with the AF Pro darts, the lane is dead on. I mean, right there, right down there. So they're looking great. So let's go get some Chrony numbers, and let's go discuss a few other things. All right, guys, so we are out here with the Aeon Pro and the Chronograph. We're going to get some numbers down. I got a whole bunch of stuff to run over it. I'm probably going to speed this up a little bit, just because I'm going to be laying down a lot of rounds. We're going to start out with full-length Adventure Force waffles. Then we're going to swap over to full-length AF Pros. Then we're going to drop down to Worker Gen 3s. And then we're going to go finally, what everyone's waiting for, the Adventure Force half-lengths. So let's get started. But before we get to the Chronograph, just real quickly, just to make sure, you know, with this, it does the rival thing. And it also does the mega thing, although I'd say the mega thing is slightly better than the rival thing, just an FYI. But let's get started with the Chrony numbers, and we'll lay down some AF waffles. $112, $125. 82, error, error, 88, 97, 89, error, 144, and we're out for the AF waffles. Let's go to the AF Pro full lengths. $127, 131, 139, 126, 127, error, 137, 135, 132, 142, and we're out. Throw in the adapter. We'll start with the Worker Gen 3s. $141, $143, $155, $145, duplicate $145, $147, $149, $159, $143, $142. And we are out with the workers. Last but not least, the Half Dart AF Pros. $149, duplicate $149, duplicate $149, duplicate $149, $146, $149, $150, duplicate $150, duplicate $150, $151, and we are completely out. So we'll have loaded up all the numbers and the averages and everything all up in here, and yeah, so let's go back inside and talk about my final thoughts. Sorry about the dog. So, my final thoughts on the Adventure Force Aeon Pro. Build quality, it is solid. It's right on par with the Nexus Pro. There are no creaks, there's no flexing. It's a solid blaster. As far as the overall looks go, I give it high marks. There is a ton of detail on here. Granted, there's no paint, with the plastic parts, but it's a pretty blaster, even just the way it is. But the detail, this is going to paint up super nicely. People have done amazing jobs with the Nexus Pro. I can't wait to see what they do with this. As far as the feel goes, the grip itself is pretty much exactly the same as the Nexus Pro. Super serviceable. I really like it. You're not going to get tired with this grip. It does have that little bit of hollow feeling to it. If any part of the entire blaster flexes, it's the grip itself. It does feel a little light in comparison to everything else, but it's definitely usable. It feels good in the hand, and that's what's most important. As far as the trigger pull, it's awesome. There's a ton of room in the trigger weld for your finger. It's got the right pull on there, and it's very satisfying. It's got the right amount of pull, and it's great. The pressure needed is just right, and it's just a very satisfying trigger. I like it a lot. As far as the grip on the top prime, there is a ton of real estate on here. There is a ton of detail on here that gives you a lot to grip onto. However, typically, you're gonna grip at the back, and what grips the most. And there are these two nubs in the back. They're like a faux rotating knob, and this is my one major gripe, is that the webbing does tend to catch right on that grip there, or on that nub there, and over time it does get a bit raw. So that's my one major gripe, but I mean, that can be adjusted by moving this, or I'm sure there's gonna be a slew of 3D printed grips that are gonna come out for this as well. And we'll see how that all comes out, but it's pretty great. As far as the prime itself goes, it is a heavy prime. Not everybody's going to be able to utilize this blaster or even use this blaster. It's probably akin to something like a K25 or a 14 kilogram spring, and there's no T-pull. It's a straight force. It doesn't have the same mechanics as the Nexus Pro, which gives you a lot more force coming in. It's a much tighter pull. But it's definitely doable, and I like it a lot. I will say, this is also not a D prime button on top. This is just a slide release. It's more like a jam release button. So keep that in mind. You cannot deprime this blaster, at least not to my knowledge yet, and I haven't seen anybody else do it. The foregrip. The foregrip is great. I love this foregrip. I love this entire area up in the front. I think this is going to make a phenomenal CQB blaster. Heads up for my final thoughts there. But yeah, I really, really, really like the feel of this overall. As far as compatibility goes, with mags, it takes everything, even the 18-round sticks with the nub, and it takes the other rounds, or other magazines rather, with the nub as well. The only thing that I don't have access to is the 50-round drum, but I'm pretty sure it's going to take that also if you wanted to do that for some odd reason. But you could. Darts, it's gonna shoot everything. Out of the box, the performance is better than the Nexus Pro. I don't know if that's because it does or does not have that same small ring, or just due to the smaller barrel length, and you're getting less barrel drag on things like AF waffles. However, I did have a jam with the AF waffles, so keep that in mind. Everything else was running fine, but it will shoot everything for the most part, so keep that in mind. As far as performance goes, for FPS numbers, AF waffles came in at 105 on average. The Pro length, or AF Pro full length darts rather, came in at 133. That's a mouthful. The worker darts came in at 147, and the AF Pro half lengths came in at 149. The lowest I got was 82 with the AF waffle, and the high was 159 with a worker dart. The full lengths average 119, with the half lengths averaging 148. So for any of your super stock clubs or 150 clubs, this is going to be great. As far as the distance goes, AF waffles came in at an average of 71. The full-length Pro darts came in at an average of 100. The workers came in at an average of 110, and the half-length AF Pros came in at 121. My low was 52 with a waffle, and my high was 126 with an AF Pro half-length. So that's the performance numbers to keep in mind. As far as the questions, does it do the mega thing? Does it do the rival thing? Yes to both. The rear grip, it's the exact same as the Nexus Pro. You can unscrew this and it butterflies in half. It is two separate pieces outside of the blaster itself. So I'm sure people are going to do rear grips as well. Is there Picatinny underneath the top prime slide? No, there is not. And I have to stop for a moment and mention, especially to that question and the next question, I had looked up on Reciprocation Props post on Nerf Reddit, and they had taken one of these apart and looked at the internals, and that's where I got my answers for these questions. But no, there is no Picatinny underneath here. And the other thing that's really, really cool about this blaster is the capability to easily change the spring. Obviously, you have to take the blaster apart to get to it, but inside, all of the systems are completely modular for the most part, and the spring and the plunger tube are all one unit, and you can take the unit out, and it's got a screw-on cap, just like the end of the Nexus Pro does, so you can remove the plunger housing, unscrew the cap, throw in a new spring, screw on the cap, and replace the entire system just like that. So yes, it's going to take screw time, but it's phenomenal what Adventure Force and Dart Zone are doing for us, and the way that they're thinking ahead and thinking towards our community and towards modders. It's amazing. I can't speak more on that. As far as my overall thoughts and where does this have a place in our hobby, this is phenomenal for anybody. I mean, it's a great first blaster. It's a great first modified, attempt, or a great first modification rather. It fits right in there for any of those 150 FPS clubs, or below and lower, or above rather. It's a phenomenal super stock blaster. At 25 bucks, it was under $27 out the door with tax. So for a 20, a 5, and 2 1s, you can walk out the door with this and be able to play with anybody that's got a 150 FPS blaster. It's awesome. And you're gonna feel like you're wrecking people, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be awesome for clubs to loan out to people. This is gonna be a crazy, I feel like, overpowered indoor blaster, because it is going to be so tight and so CQB, and you're gonna be able to reach around corners super quick. What's gonna be interesting to see is if these come into competition play, being that they're top prime versus a foregrip prime. We'll have to see. honestly, I know people have been comparing these to the Spamp, but it's realistically a Chrono mag. If you look at where they line up with the mag wells, that's right at the front. And then the barrel length, even though the metal barrel on the Aeon Pro is probably right around here on the lip here. So there's maybe a 1/2 inch of barrel, and this is the Ezekiel kit, by the way. It's only about a 1/2 inch further than what they've got on a barrel length, even less than that if you include the little plastic on the end there. And it sets up to prime almost in the exact same way. If you line them up this way, they're pretty much the exact same blaster. I do have to give the Chrono Mag 2 major benefits. The grip on the Chrono Mag and the Chronos in general is one of the best grips in our entire hobby. Always has been since this came out. And then the ability to T-pull on this makes this a much easier blaster to prime. However, there's going to be all sorts of modifications done to this, I'm sure, and I can't wait to see what people get into and where they're at. As far as buy or not to buy with confidence on this one, guys. It's 25 bucks. You know, save your lunch money for a week, and you're going to have a blaster that is performance and competition grade. Bottom line. So, yeah, I love this blaster. Highly recommend it. Thank you guys for sticking through the review. Hope to see you guys again another time, hopefully soon. And yeah, Chicago Nerf, everyone.